'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in the hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
And if you're very good, he'll come when you're asleep tonight.
Merry Christmas, everyone! Now turn that off, will you, young Peter? For look what I have fetched from Osgood Womblespoon, the master butcher, just in time for tomorrow's family Christmas feast.
On my soul, a Christmas turkey, the size of which I've never seen before in my life. Gosh!
Now you watch your tongue, young Martha, or Father Christmas may put a lump of coal in your stocking.
Don't tease the poor girl, Bob Cratchit. You know she's simple. But tell us how you managed to purchase such a magnificent bird.
Mr. Scrooge gave me a whole penny as a Christmas bonus, and Osgood Womblespoon said I could have this for half price because it was going off, which means I have a whole halfpenny for the gas meter should we need it.
Oh, that Mr. Scrooge of yours has certainly become a better man since his breakdown last Christmas.
It is said he knows how to keep Christmas better than anyone before or since.
I turned off the fire as you asked, Father.
Yes, no need to go on about it, boy.
Peter, put this under the sink for tomorrow.
Yes, Mother. You can come too, Martha, and open the door for me.
What fun!
Now, where is my favourite child, Tiny Tim?
Now, run along, you two.
For it would not be Christmas without Tiny Tim to cheer us up. These two are a bit quiet.
I sent him down to Zibbity Scrontleman's for some cough syrup. He's got pneumonia again. It's only 5 hours away, but I suppose the blizzard slowed him down.
Well, it can't be helped. You did everything you could.
They were out of cough syrup, so I just got a packet of black glucogel jelly beans and ate them on the way home. See?
Merry Christmas, Tiny Tim!
Ixnay on the Isthmus, Craig Pops. The typical ABC wants a non-denominational, inclusive holiday special that doesn't marginalise anyone. They also said I can't be lame because it's offensive to the differently abled. It's political correctness gone mad!
Oh, who could that be?
If it is someone collecting for charity, tell them they may have our halfpenny.
Good evening. Would you like to hear some Christmas carols?
I'm afraid not. Our youngest thinks it would be culturally insensitive. Do you have any other tunes?
Well, only the usual opening theme music.
Now, how does that one go?
Thank you very much. Thank you, and good evening, and welcome to a very merry Mad as Hell. Now, I'll be honest with you, we didn't quite know what to call this special. Merry Hell, Deck the Hells, Mad as Holly, God Rest Ye Merry Gentle Mad. There were so many choices. In the end, we decided to try and make the show as non-denominational and inclusive as possible. That's why our tree is decorated with as many different cultural references as possible, so that nobody can get offended. Now, I'll also be honest with you and admit that I'm not a religious man myself. I wish I was. I used to be many years ago, but as soon as you start working for the ABC, they send you off to a re-education camp at Lee's Sales House, and you learn that not only is there no God, but that you should never, ever park in a car park. But while I may not believe in an omniscient father figure who punishes you for your sinfulness and rewards you for a good life, I do believe in Christmas. And the idea there's an old man with a white beard who knows if you're naughty or nice and gives you a present or a lump of coal, depending. It's a completely different idea. Anyway, whether you believe or whether you don't, I hope you're watching with your family. We've got a great show lined up, some old friends dropping in, and a few surprises too. Oh, that might be one of them now.
Your Honour, there can be no question that Santa Claus is real. Australian postal laws make it a criminal offence to willfully misdirect mail to the wrong party, do they not?
I suppose so.
Then I offer these letters, all directed to Father Christmas, to the court as proof of his existence.
Yes, but I...
Australia Post delivered them, and therefore Australia Post, originally the Postmaster General, recognises this man, Kris Kringle, as the one and only Santa Claus.
Well, OK, well, not only have you delivered them to the wrong place, but some of these letters are from last year.
Well, we've been busy.
Well, some of them aren't even for Kris Kringle. This is a stool sample addressed to Angus Taylor, and this is Christine Holgate's Christmas bonus.
Yeah, I'll deliver that personally, sir. For neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night shall something, something, something. All right, bag these up, my pretties, for if we don't deliver them by Christmas morn, I know a storm drain we can dump them in.
Well, despite record unemployment and the best efforts of Richard Colbeck to eliminate anyone over the age of 70, Santa Claus is back at work at the end of this week, super spreading joy to all of us. Now, I know a lot of you out there get a bit cynical this time of the year about the crass cultural appropriation by Christianity of what traditionally was a time for celebrating the winter solstice in ancient Rome. What started out as an innocent occasion to eat and drink too much and give each other gifts has turned into, sadly, what we have today. But if you look past the religification of Christmas, you can see the occasion for what it was and what it still can be today. And to help us look past all the humbug, would you please welcome our first guest tonight, the ghost of Christmas past. Welcome, O Spirit.
G'day, Shaun. It's been a while.
Yes, much has changed since you were last with us.
No studio audience for a start.
Yeah, well, the ABC won't let us have one because of COVID. Typical.
But Christmas is a time of coming together and closeness and hugging each other. You want me to go haunt Ita so she changes her mind?
No, that's fine. I'll leave her alone. But what I do want to do is ask you about the change that's come over Independent Senator Jackie Lambie.
Oh, yeah. I used to work for her and that.
Yeah, I know.
I was her advisor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and she's undergone something of a transformation, hasn't she? From someone who wanted to do things like ban the burqa and electronically tag refugees to someone now defending their rights to have mobile phones and, most recently, making an impassioned plea on behalf of university students.
Yeah, that's all since I left, Shaun. Being mean to the refos and banning the burqa, them was all my ideas.
I think you're being modest. I think you had a lot to do with Jackie's epiphany. A change of heart.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to bang my own horn, Shaun, but, yeah, that is entirely due to me. I done that, yeah.
Well, you've been consulting with her?
Yeah.
OK.
Me, in my non-corporeal form,
yes,
would manifest itself to her in the wee small hours when the old clock on the wall had struck thrice and scare the crap out of her. Oh, is crap OK for a Christmas special?
Well, it works for carols by candlelight.
And anyway, I took Jackie and showed her her past, her childhood home in Ulverstone, the base where she served when she enlisted in the army. I even took her to the radio station where she defended Vladimir Putin that time.
Wow, that's amazing. You flew through time.
No, I got a van. I chucked Jackie in the back and I said, shut up and look out the window. And then we drive round for a bit and then I dumped her back on the curb outside her place in Burnie and then I fishtailed down the road and drove into some bins.
Well, thank you so much, O Spirit, for spending...
Sorry, Shaun,
Yeah,
just
no.
before I go,
Sure.
because my hour is nigh and that, I just want to tell you a beautiful Christmas story about the Aussies and the Germans in World War I when they played soccer together on Christmas Eve. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, the Christmas truce of 1914.
All right, spoiler alert, jeez.
Well, you know, this is a Christmas special, Dolly, and I think the folks at home they would love to hear that story. Plus, this special runs an hour and the interviews have to run a bit longer than usual, so...
Grouse.
Good.
Anyway,
Yeah?
it was on the Western Front and that, during the dark, dark days of the Great War.
Jeez, Bluey, that was expensive.
But that day was also Christmas Eve, a time of peace and good fellowship and stuff.
What you after there, you square-head bastard, eh?
To which the German guy replied,
Well, we were all here just wondering whether you fellows wanted to perhaps suspend hostilities temporarily and maybe play a little game of football.
and so the soldiers put aside their differences and came together, not as combatants, but as men, with much more in common than they knew. But not quite enough. In the ensuing brawl, several of them died. The end.
Well, that's a wonderful story and beautifully told. Dolly Norman, everybody. Well, coming up, Tosh Greenslade shows you how to chop down your own Christmas tree. And from the ABC archives, the lighting of the staff Christmas pudding by Prime Minister John Curtin in 1943. The subsequent fire and rescue of the Prime Minister and Mrs Curtin, just in time for dessert. Plus, I speak to this man who every year goes to the local charity-run Christmas lunch in his area, but this year the numbers of people turning up have meant he'll miss out.
It's not just me, Shaun. Quite a few others have been turned away too because they've already got enough volunteers.
So what will you do on Christmas Day?
I guess I'll just have to spend it at home with my family. It's not ideal, obviously, because they are horrible.
Yes.
But hopefully next year there'll be more people in need, or not as many people selflessly donating their time at the centre, and I can get back in there.
And help others who are less fortunate.
Anything to avoid my relatives.
Well, good luck with that. And Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too.
Time now, though, for an update on any sightings of Santa's sleigh in the lead up to Christmas, and who better to file that report than our own Mad As helicopter pilot, Lois Price. Any sign of Santa's sleigh so far, Lois?
Nah.
Well, I suppose it's a bit early for him to be occupying Australian airspace, isn't it, Lois? Or perhaps Rudolph hasn't got his nose turned on.
Well, Shaun, as a devout Catholic, I celebrate Christmas as the birth of our Saviour and Lord Jesus.
Oh, dear.
And from my position high in the sky, I can see plenty of nativity scenes recreated outside churches all over the state.
I'm going to get complaints, Lois.
Did you know our Lord God and Master was born in a stable, Shaun?
Yes, I did, Lois, yes. Born in a stable after Joseph and Mary learnt that there was no room at the inn.
Yeah, I mean, what did they expect, Shaun? Who rocks up to a hotel on Christmas Eve without a booking? Of course it was going to be a capacity of that time of year, as the Mother of God should have known. And this rookie error, Shaun, has once become known as the Assumption of Mary. It's finally here, the partly new tripe and banana burger from Louis' Fish Outlet. 2 strips of frozen rubbery tripe boiled to perfection, topped with smashed blackened banana, twice pickled turnips and pig's face shavings drizzled with a challenging cod liver oil dressing. Just 99 cents this week only from Louis' Fish Outlet. Offer expires if people eating it do. I'm Lois Price for Mad As Hell.
Thanks very much, Lois. Now, while the real Father Christmas is expected to make his journey this year with no difficulties despite COVID-19, it's a completely different story for those who do impressions of him in department stores all around the world, with the US cancelling plans to offer Santa Clauses early access to a vaccine in exchange for them promoting it publicly. And good on America, I say. Christmas is far too commercial as it is without Santa Claus striking some endorsement deal and sullying the whole thing. If Christmas is about anything, and I'm assured that it is, it's about following the honest and trustworthy and impartial advice of television chefs like Jamie Oliver and Curtis Stone, drinking whichever beer matches your preferred football code, and all while checking the spread on whichever betting app Merv Hughes likes best. Now, someone who might be expecting something special under the tree on Friday is a little girl who's been especially good this year. Very well behaved, no trouble at all, barely heard a word out of her. She was, it must be said, a bit naughty last year, but this year she put things right, and while she denies she did anything wrong, at least she didn't point the finger at anybody else. She kept her mouth shut and didn't rat anyone else out, and that's the main thing, isn't it? Chief Media Strategist for Bridget McKenzie, Megan St John.
Oh, no, I think Bridget's entitled to something. Maybe not being Minister for Sport or Deputy Leader of Nationals again, but something nice for the way she's handled the AFP investigation and Senate estimates.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was nothing announced in the cabinet reshuffle this year. Does that worry Bridget?
Bridget better get something in next year's cabinet reshuffle, because she is not going to waste her career standing behind Matt Canavan and nodding. She wants to waste it not doing something else.
And I think we have footage of Bridget wasting her career standing behind Matt Canavan and nodding. Yes, there she is. She does do it well, though, doesn't she?
Well, as Michael McCormack said,
Bridget McKenzie has done an outstanding job as the Sports Minister.
Yeah, but he also said that buying that land for Sydney Airport for $30 million was a bargain. So, you know, what does he know?
I found these in the back of my com car. I don't know where I was supposed to put them.
You keep them. Well, later in the show, sweatshops in the North Pole. Wouldn't that be impossible? And solar chimneys. Are they just another way for the Green Left to ruin Christmas?
Shaun! Excuse me, Shaun!
Yeah.
Typical ABC ignoring me.
Yes, the gentleman up the back there.
Yes, Shaun. My beautiful wife Evadne and I were thinking about the spirit of forgiveness, which is so important at this time of the year, and it occurs to us that in the interest of moving on and healing us all as a nation, we should forgive all our politicians for anything corrupt they may have done this year.
Well, that's very big of you.
The only problem is that because none of their internal investigations ever go anywhere or don't reveal their findings, even if they do, we don't really know who to forgive or for what. Which is why we reckon there should be a federal forgiveness commission to really get to the bottom of things. It could have the power to tap phones, subpoena ministers, hold public hearings on threat of perjury and deliver findings. Really turn the screws on them.
Right, so you know who to forgive.
That's what I'm saying!
Yes. What's to stop you, though, after you've established it, finding out who did what and then, instead of forgiving our politicians, instituting criminal proceedings against them?
Well, they just have to trust us, wouldn't they?
A rhetorical question, but if you think you know the answer, write to us, care of Paul Fletcher, who's kind of in charge of the ABC, care of, etc., etc., and you could win $100 million from the Expenditure Review Committee to spend as you wish as part of the Coalition's Vote Keeper scheme.
And another thing, Shaun.
Yes?
Just because it's a special time of the year and you've been nice enough to have us on this show since the very beginning, if Adney would like to say something.
Really? Because in the 12 seasons we've been running, I don't think we've ever heard of Adney speak.
Yeah, I know, that's the point.
Oh, yeah.
Go on, my angel.
Merry Christmas.
She's been practising that for weeks.
Hi, Patricia Carvelis here, wishing you all a very happy Christmas.
Sorry, can you just... That's great. Can you a little more, just a bit brighter?
Hi, Patricia Carvelis here...
with a little bit of a smile.
Hi, Patricia Carvelis here, wishing you all a very happy Christmas.
Can we break it down a bit? Can you do the high? Just try high. High with a... Just kind of sing it. Hi.
Hi, I'm Patricia Carvelis here, wishing you all a very happy Christmas.
More on very, bit more emphasis on very.
Hi, Patricia
No, sorry, just do the very in isolation.
Very.
Great, now put it all together, don't even think about it.
Hi, Patricia Carvelis here, wishing you all a very happy Christmas.
Just a small thing, your left eye is a little more open than your right.
Hi, Patricia Carvelis here, wishing you all a very happy Christmas.
Can we do it in Greek? Because it's diverse.
No, Shaun.
Christmas is a time for reflection and family, and it can be difficult.
So here's some jobs you might want to get up to this weekend.
The overwhelming stench of rotting flesh produced by the corpse plant means a door wreath made from them is the perfect way to deter unwanted Christmas visitors. Finish turning the soil over in garden beds and then interfere in a foreign country's election. Exist. Turn your old septic tank into an asset by converting it into fruit picker accommodation, simply by calling it fruit picker accommodation.
Saturday night, it's a Vera Christmas special.
Oh, you didn't have to get me anything for Christmas, Doc.
Yes, well, I saw it and I thought of you. Allow me to unwrap it. Female, mid-30s, asphyxiated with several lengths of coloured tinsel.
And what about the Santa hat?
No, that's just something we do here with all the corpses.
Oh, very festive. Come on then, Aidan, love. We have questions to ask.
Have you got a suspect in mind?
I can't talk to you about it now, love.
Why not?
We're about to walk out a shot.
And DCI Vera Stanhope's net is closing in.
Why are all your lamps on in the middle of the day?
Director of Photography insisted.
But has she got her man, woman, other suitable non-binary descriptor?
Well, I might not have liked her, but I couldn't have killed her.
What could you have done to her?
Stabbed her in the bum? Singed her pubes?
Yes, I suppose. But not strangled her with her own tinsel and dump her under Buxton Bridge in a doona cover because I found out she was having an affair with my husband and planning on moving to Italy with him in January.
I didn't say it was her own tinsel.
Kenny, Aidan, here's to a lovely Christmas. I hope your homes are filled with good cheer and laughter, and your stockings are full up to Pussy's bow. I'm told mine are.
The Vera Christmas Special, Saturday, 8:30.
But right now with the news roundup, as in a summary rather than the carcinogenic weed killer, here's Lydia Rowlands.
Thanks, Shaun. Well, they say the pattern of life is visible only in retrospect, but whoever they are, they're wrong, because this year has been an absolute mess and makes about as much sense as Iris Apfel wearing a brown jumper and a pair of contact lenses. But we'll do our best.
2020 kicked off with the Prime Minister showing fire authorities where he went in Hawaii. And while his holiday was sadly cut short, he was welcomed back with open arms, even if he did have to open them himself. Meanwhile, Britain's delight that they were finally out of Europe was later soured by the realization that they were still in Britain. Except for these two, who left Europe, Britain and the royal family section of Madame Tussauds, a move that, while controversial, the British managed to keep in proportion.
I think that's a real tragedy.
Back home, and despite pouring billions of dollars of taxpayers' money into Holden, we still couldn't keep them in the country. Presumably someone used private security guards instead of AFP officers. Also, despite pouring millions of dollars of taxpayers' money into sports grants, we still couldn't manage to keep Sports Minister Bridget McKenzie in her job. The sport portfolio fortunately ending up in the safe hands of Senator Richard Colbeck, whose handling of aged care prompted this suggested alternative to the aged care industry.
Neighbours looking after elderly neighbours.
March, and in the wake of Brexit and Megxit, Australia had a Kleenex it. Also, while we couldn't get onto the MyGov website, we could get off the Ruby Princess. But we couldn't get on or off a Virgin plane when administrators were appointed to Virgin Australia. How on earth had they been running an airline without administrators? Insanity. Speaking of which...
And then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that? By injection inside or...
And as the clinical trials of PinoClean shots continued, China suspended Australian beef, which clearly makes it easier to work with. And the government had some reassuring economic news for us, learning they'd overestimated the spend on JobKeeper by $60 billion after getting a call from the Robodebt department. As to what happened in the second half of the year, you'll have to wait and find out later in the show when we cross back to me to tell you. Shaun?
Thank you, Chicka Lydia. Christmas is a time of giving as well as receiving, and in the spirit of the season, the federal government has given us tax cuts in the hope that once we receive the cash back, we'll go out and blow the extra money on presents, thus stimulating the economy. But without that tax, how will the government pay for things that the country needs, like overpriced non-existent submarines, unnecessary and ultimately written-off medals, contact tracing apps that don't work, coal-fired power plant feasibility studies, grossly overvalued airport land owned by a company run by Liberal Party donors, grossly overvalued water owned by a Liberal Party donor, grossly overvalued and underqualified refugee security, that sort of thing. Dramella Burt from the PMO, what would you like to get for Christmas?
One of your jokes.
She started early.
I want what the Morrison government wants, what all Australia wants, for everyone in this country to get off their asses and start paying off our $185 billion budget deficit.
Well, that's a pretty expensive gift. What about something cheaper and more practical, like a federal ICAC? Might even save some money in the long run.
The PM dealt with that 2 Christmases ago, Shaun. He said we'd have an integrity commission within a year at the end of 2018, and 19 months later, we'd cut the National Audit Office budget by 14 mil.
Yeah, well, that's not quite the same thing, is it?
Look, it's on the list. There's a draft proposal, public consultation, winning over the nut jobs on the Senate crossbench. Maybe next Christmas.
Well, I thought you'd want a federal ICAC as soon as possible.
Why?
Well, to clear the PMO and the PM from the $100 million sports rorts affair for a start. Angus Taylor could finally find out who forged those documents he tried to use to discredit Clover Moore. Stuart Robert could be found to be simply incompetent instead of anything worse.
Shaun, this is a fringe issue.
How can it be when Stuart Robert hasn't got any hair? Pretty good one, huh?
Do we even really need a federal ICAC? The AFP are looking into this $30 million airport deal. Border Force are looking into Daryl Maguire's cash for visas thing. If there's anything fishy involving the federal government, then I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Well, when you say we, do you mean us or do you mean you as in a private phone call to the Prime Minister's office?
I mean whatever my language will enable me to make it mean when I'm called upon to explain what I meant at some later time. And that's what we've been doing, and that's what we'll continue to do. Frankly, an integrity commission isn't our #1 priority at the moment.
What, so you can only do one thing at a time? You're running a country, not a mindfulness workshop.
Listen, Juice Media, it'll be ready when it's ready. You want to make sure the terms of reference aren't so narrow that everybody can see it's pointless, or so wide that half the cabinet have to resign. It's got to be just right, like the religious freedom legislation we promised 2 years ago. You want to spend enough time on it that people will eventually forget about it and you can move forward onto something else that appeals to the base or placates the right-wing psychos that we've got on the back bench.
Finally, Dramella, it is Christmas and I want to thank you for coming in and talking with us this last year. We have our differences, but I'd like to think we have more in common, and that outside of politics, we probably could have been friends. So, Merry Christmas. But even if it does eventually eventuate, the Coalition's model for its Integrity Commission would not have retrospective powers. Later on tonight's special, we talk to Debenture Vile from the Parliamentary Lobby. Debenture, is that the lobby of Parliament or a lobby representing people in Parliament?
Both, Shaun. Like any lobby, we make sure that what's important to our clients remains front of mind for our politicians.
Aren't those politicians your clients?
I didn't say it was a difficult job. Is the handkerchief a bit too busy?
No, it's fine. Why can't an ICAC be retrospective?
Well, basic fairness, Shaun. It's unfair to prosecute someone for doing something that, at the time, they thought they could get away with.
Really?
Obviously, if there's an ICAC in the future, then those in the government will know there could be consequences for their actions and they can adjust their behaviour accordingly.
By not doing anything wrong?
Well, I was going to say by keeping their wrongdoing outside its extremely limited terms of reference, but potato, tomato.
But doesn't all crime, by definition, happen in the past? I mean, if criminal courts weren't retrospective, what would they investigate?
Crimes that are currently happening in full view of the courtroom at the exact moment the jury declares them guilty, which, to us, seems the only fair way.
So, a statute of limitations of 0 seconds?
Why not? Look at the debate around the continuity of the self. Am I even the same person from one moment to the next? The cells in my body are constantly being replaced, plus consciousness is a lie and the decisions we make are an illusion created by the unconscious to fool a compliant superego into believing it has control of what is essentially an autonomous vehicle for ultimately selfish genetic processes. Why should the mind be punished when it was really just chemical movement in the brain that took kickbacks from the developers?
Well, it's a good question. And if you think you know the answer, submit your answer in PhD thesis form and you could win a Stan Regional Development Grant up to the value of $11 billion, no questions asked. Unlike Stan, who does go on a bit. Delicious. Also, later on, we take a look at this. Shoppers in training for Boxing Day sales and ask the question, should Father Christmas be using a more sustainable alternative to fossil fuel to punish naughty children? Although perhaps if they behave properly, we wouldn't have to use coal in the first place. Bloody kids. My next guest is always in the moment, particularly at this time of the year. Would you please welcome to tell us what we can all expect on the morning of December 25th, the ghost of Christmas present. Darius, it's nice to see you.
I am the re-gifted ghost of Christmas present.
Yes, well, you certainly seem full of cheer tonight.
Don't worry, Shaun. It's no alcohol cheer. I saw your documentary. My body is my temple. This cigar, on the other hand, is full of crystal meth.
It's not a great Christmas this year for a lot of people, though, is it, Darius? I mean, after your budget this year, consumer confidence is low. Some folk out there don't have a lot of money to spend on.
Can I interrupt you there and just say that first, we are all in this together, and secondly, the budget was mainly Josh Frydenberg's. I had very little to do with it. I was busy packing up my office and getting ready to blow this chicken outfit. If it was up to me, I would have just told Treasury to print more money and shower it on everybody out of an airplane, pursuant to modern monetary policy. Because money, like Christmas, only has value if we all believe in it.
Oh, it's a con.
I wouldn't say it's a con exactly. It's a scam. Currency is just a big Ponzi scheme. I give you a worthless piece of paper at a low rate. You give it to someone else at a higher rate. They try and buy a Turbo Man toy with it. There aren't enough Turbo Man toys to go around. The price of the Turbo Man goes up. Now you don't have enough money to buy one anymore anyway. You can't pay back the debt. The banks fail. The economy collapses. The Turbo Man factory goes out of business. You lose your job, and pretty soon you are living on all there is left. The charity and goodwill of your fellow man.
God rest ye merry gentlemen.
Excuse me, sure.
Nothing you dismay, for Jesus Christ our Saviour.
Sorry about that.
No,
if there's one thing that's worse than the poor and the destitute, it's when they start singing.
What was Christmas like for you when you were growing up?
Oh, things were simple when I was a boy growing up wherever I did. We did not have much. I was lucky to find a box of pencils or an orange under the tree on Christmas morning. Sometimes there was nothing in my stocking but my own leg.
Not even a lump of coal?
A lump of coal would have been a great present. Matt Canavan gives one out to everybody every year.
Very generous.
No, we only had Sinterklaas Claus and his now extraordinarily politically incorrect assistant Black Peter, who I cannot even show you on the television, thanks to cancel culture and progressive human decency. These days, of course, Santa Claus works alone.
Another job lost.
What are you going to do?
As the ghost of Christmas present, you only work one day a year.
Still counts in the employment figures.
Well, what next for you in 2021?
Hopefully translating for Matthias Cormann at the OECD. Just between you and me, his accent is impenetrable. Failing that, I might come back here and do the same thing for Micallef Cash.
Well, thank you very much, Darius Horsham.
Fantastic.
Mad as Hell being a news satire show doesn't always use all the talents of our cast. Yes, they're fine actors and comedians, but many of them can do other things as well. Francis, for example, is very clever with his feet. Stephen can hula hoop. Tosh can mesmerise cheese. Now, we wouldn't normally do this sort of thing on a regular episode of Mad as Hell, but given this is a special, we thought it might be nice to showcase some of these extra non-actorly talents. So it gives me great pleasure now to introduce our very own Christy Whelan-Brown to sing a song very popular at this time of the year. A song selected by UNESCO in 2011 as one of intangible cultural heritage representing the social practices of Austria. Written in 1818 but still very much loved, Silent Night, Holy Night, Ms. Christy Whelan-Brown.
Sorry, Shaun. I don't want to sing this song. It's just so old, and I just hate things that are old. No offence.
No, that's OK. So what would you like to sing?
Could I do this one?
Still to come, Kitty Flanagan, Judith Lucy, the editor of Daily Mail Australia, Claude Bile and his invisible poodles, the country and western stylings of Paraclete. Plus, we catch up with Gerard Henderson.
Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor wishing you all the very best for the holiday season.
That's good. That's great. Could you make it sound a little less Christmassy?
Okay, a little more serious?
Yeah, just in case we might get some complaints.
Okay. Hi, This is Beverly O'Connor wishing you all the very best for the holidays.
Sorry, more serious.
More serious?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor wishing you all the very best for the holiday season.
Maybe we should lose season. Wishing all the best. I think maybe just end the sentence there.
Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor wishing you all the very best.
Maybe just wishing you.
Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor wishing you. That's it?
Yeah. What about just wishing? Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor wishing. It feels, you know, like a dream. Try that.
Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor wishing.
Maybe just Beverly O'Connor. Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor.
Hi, this is Beverly O'Connor.
No, that's too much.
It's Christmas Eve in Poplar for one of the BBC's most popular period dramas.
Oh, Teddy, Angela and me, you stay there while I answer the phone that is ringing. Hello, Turner residence. This is Mrs. Sheila Turner speaking to you with my voice into the telephone receiver that I'm holding.
Dr. Turner, thank goodness I caught you at home. This is Sister Monica Joan. It's about your wife.
But I'm my wife.
You must come quickly. There's been a mix-up with your wife's daughter, May Tang. She's not the mother.
I know. She's adopted. I'm sorry, Mrs. Turner, but it's an emergency. Sister Julianne is expecting a baby. Oh, it's a Christmas miracle. Oh, he didn't let me finish. To arrive any moment now. The patient is 5 centimetres. Oh, that is small. I'll make sure my husband brings his spectacles.
With all your favourite characters and Dr. Turner.
I came as soon as I could, but unfortunately my car broke down. Fortunately, though, Cyril Robertson, the mechanic, was happening past and was able to lend me a hand.
Blown gasket, I'm afraid, Dr. Turner. Might be a while before we get the part in.
Why is that, Cyril Robertson?
Well, your car's a 68 model and it's only 1964 at the moment.
We don't have time for this, Dr. Turner. The baby's head is crowning.
I boiled that water you asked me to, Nurse Lucille. It was delicious.
One more, here she
And
comes.
it wouldn't be a Christmas Eve or an episode of Call the Midwife without at least one child being born.
It seems you didn't need me after all, Sister Juliet.
Oh, it was a very complicated delivery, Dr. Turner. I can't begin to tell you.
Well, I will. My waters broke while I was tossing a caber and it went right through Violet Buckle's haberdashery window, knocking down a half-ton crate of ostrich plumes. Well, you could have knocked her down with a feather, so you can imagine how much damage that many did to her.
Call the Midwife's Christmas special. Not sure when it's on, and iView.
Trying to get home in time for Christmas is always hilarious fun, and Federal MP Craig Kelly certainly had the right idea when he suggested Australians stranded overseas this year treat the experience as a big adventure. Now, Craig has a lot of great ideas, hydroxychloroquine, climate change and wanting the ABC defunded because a sketch made fun of him. Not one of ours, I hasten to add. This was on Insiders. It's a great show if you haven't seen it. It's very funny, particularly when they have Greg Sheridan on. But this idea of Craig's to treat the difficulty in getting home as some sort of adventure is a chef's kiss of a notion. Trouble is, as we know, as of a couple of months ago, there were 24,000...
23,000. 26,000.
25,000. 27,000.
35,000 Australians remain stranded.
Now, with so many trying to make it home in time, how were stranded Aussies able to make this adventure special, given everybody was doing the same thing? Tamara Happenstance from Tourism Australia.
Oh, Shaun, you ever seen The Amazing Race Australia?
Nope.
Well, it was like that. Millions of Aussies stranded all around the globe, competing with each other to get on the few remaining flights available, prepared to beg, steal, borrow, sell their bodies, their organs, anything short of, or perhaps including murder, to get one of those rare and expensive first or business class one-way tickets.
Oh, sounds like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Except that in the end, you don't end up owning a factory or indeed anything. Come on back to where it all began, Australia, where things aren't quite as bad as they are everywhere else, you sucky crybabies.
Now, supply chains are still a bit iffy because of the virus, so even if people manage to get back, they might not be able to have everything they expect at a traditional Aussie Christmas lunch.
You think Burke and Wills worried about what they were eating when they went on their great adventure, Shaun? Necessity's the mother of invention, so let her flaming well slave over a hot stove for once. Can't find any turkey to stuff with breadcrumbs, this Chrissy? Why not just fashion the stuffing into the shape of a turkey instead? As the actress said to the bishop, get that into you and make sure you leave room for some pudding, Your Eminence.
Now, for those who didn't get back in time and are stuck in hotel quarantine, how can they, as Craig Kelly suggested, treat that part of the experience like an adventure?
The same way Craig convinces himself about hydroxychloroquine, climate change, and that wearing this T-shirt was a good idea. Pure imagination.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory again.
Of course, not everyone can crank themselves up to the level of Craig's delusion without a lobotomy, so crack open your head with a hammer and scoop out your frontal lobe. You won't be needing that now you're back home, and God bless us, everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Tamara. Well, coming up, our deep ingrained racism aside, Australia is a multicultural country where everyone's traditions are respected and admired almost to the point of condescension. But around this time of the year, it's hard to beat a good old-fashioned Aussie outback Christmas feed. Bush turkey roasted over a campfire, served up with yams, cluster figs, pigweed, scrub nettle and wild parsnips, all washed down with lashings of billy tea under the shade of a cooler bar cask. In the spirit of showcasing regional Australia, which we're ordered to do by management, while at the same time embracing other cultures, which we actually want to do, we asked this man to prepare us a bush tucker Christmas feast we could all enjoy. He understandably refused. And also coming up, another tradition. Each year, the Bandidos Teddy Bear Run brings much-needed teddy bears to children all over this country. We'll be speaking to the club sergeant-at-arms, Bad Boy Blade Petrov. He's down in the green room at the moment, as you can see. Bad Boy, looking forward to talking to you about the Great Ocean Road leg of the run.
Yeah, Shaun, 200 Ks, 100 teddy bears, 25 quiet seaside towns, at least until we get there, eh?
Yeah, and all to raise money for the needy kids.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. What's important is we get these bears to their pre-arranged drop-off points.
And you're road captain this year as well, aren't you? Usually it's Chico the Scum Malpaso we talk to.
Yeah, Chico got ambushed by a rival gang in a vendetta attack and I had to take over at the last minute.
Oh, well, I hope he's all right.
Meth lab exploded. Cops never found his body.
Well, good luck this year. I'm sure those bears are going to fill a lot of children with a lot of joy this Christmas.
Yeah, well, we filled the bears with a lot of joy, if you get my meaning, Shaun.
Yes, I think I do.
I'm talking about drugs.
Yep, gotcha.
We'll talk later.
Sure, if we have time.
Yeah.
See how we go.
Yep.
The story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer has enchanted millions, and we hope we'll do so again tonight. I mean, ratings like that would almost guarantee us that Shrove Tuesday special we're hoping to do next year. To present the story tonight, here's Tosh Greenslade in a wig and glasses.
That's exactly right, Shaun. Our story opens in the North Pole, where a small fawn named Rudolph has been enslaved and forced to fly toys illegally across international borders. The other reindeers laughed at poor Rudolph and wouldn't let him play in any of their reindeer games. Not even Fortnite, which everybody played now that the North Pole had fibre to the igloo. "Why are you laughing at me?" asked Rudolph. "Because you are different from us," jeered the other reindeers. "Your nose is red instead of black." "That's racist," said Rudolph, and he went off to lodge a complaint with the Equal Opportunities Commission. After a couple of years and several failed mediations, Rudolph's case went to arbitration and a decision was handed down in his favour. The other reindeers were found to have discriminated against Rudolph in the workplace, and he received a substantial payout, which Rudolph used to go on a holiday. Meanwhile, Andrew Bolt wrote about the racism finding in his allegedly popular newspaper column, saying that it was political correctness gone mad, and that Rudolph was a snowflake, and that the Equal Opportunities Commission was an inner-city leftist woke cabal of latte-drinking climate change denial deniers, and also that the ABC should be sold off. Well, when Santa Claus heard about what had been going on, he visited Rudolph on Christmas Eve to apologise personally on behalf of his staff, saying, "Rudolph, because of your red nose, I want you to guide my sleigh tonight." Rudolph felt that this was patronising and accused Santa of treating him differently because of his disability. But before Rudolph could lodge another claim, Santa resolved the dispute once and for all by inviting Rudolph over to his house that night and having him for dinner. Venison. And they all lived happily ever after. Shaun.
Yes, Tosh Greenslade there in a wig and glasses with a parody version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, satirising both political correctness and conservative values against inclusivity. Happy holidays, Tosh.
And just a reminder that my book is still available at all good bookshops and would make the ideal happy holiday gift. Have you pixelated the cover?
We have. Now, of course, it's only 4 more sleeps and Christmas Day will be done. Then the week after, New Year's Eve, and the day after that, 2021 starts, and the whole wheel of Dharma gets another spin. With some hacks on life next year, tips on how to cope, and a heads up on what to expect, would you please give a big mad as hell home audience welcome to the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
Merry Christmas, Shaun.
Oh, thank you very much, Brian. Oh, a baby doll in a suit.
It's a Peter Dutton action figure.
Oh.
It'll be all the rage next year. And I do mean rage.
Right, so you think 2021's going to be Peter's year?
Oh, you saw only the tip of his enormous potential in home affairs. As it becomes further engorged, it will burst through the pants of the Defence Ministry, be exposed for all the world to see as Foreign Minister, then on to greater tumescence as the increasingly throbbing Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party, and eventually Prime Minister.
As it's the festive season, can I ask you about Christmas Island?
Oh, it's a magical wonderland, Shaun, as any Billowheelan family will tell you. Time seems to stand still.
Well, they have been there for 31 months.
See what I mean? But I think the more important story here is the one of compassion and understanding we should all be showing at this time of the year to Peter Dutton.
Why?
It's been 28 months since he was cruelly denied the rightful taking of the Prime Ministerial crown from Malcolm Turnbull by Scott Morrison. A man, according to the Australian, not fit to lick even Peter's jackboots.
I couldn't help noticing that newspaper graphic was drawn in crayon in what appeared to be the frenzied hand of a madman.
I'll have you know that Rupert Murdoch has nothing to do with the rabid editorial content of his media empire.
Well, in the spirit of rapprochement, may I wish you happy holidays, Brian, on behalf of the ABC. I'm sorry I don't have a present.
You'll pardon me if I don't look surprised, but I don't have any eyebrows.
But right now, in tonight's special, a very special song from a very special performer. You've seen her in crazy character makeup and wigs playing Vomitoria Catchment, Penelope Impact and, of course, Milo Kerrigan. But this evening, she's put away the nose putty and the outlandish costumes to display her talents as a beautiful singer. With the chipmunk version of All I Want for Christmas Is My Two Front Teeth, Ms. Emily Tahini.
So, little Emily, what do you want for Christmas?
Sorry, Shaun, can I do something else?
Well, we've already paid $35,000 for the rights and clearances.
Yeah, but Christy got to change hers.
Well, yeah, OK. Well, is it a fun song?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes, yes.
Because we want to end on something upbeat when we go to the break.
Yeah, it's upbeat, it's upbeat.
All right, OK, do what you want.
Hit it, Professor.
This doesn't make any sense now.
Shut up and dance.
We done?
Shut up, we're about to sing.
Hi,
I'm David Spears, wishing you the very best for the festive season.
Can we go again, David, just with a bit of a laugh at the beginning? Because it's Christmas.
Okay.
It's a bit lighter.
Hi, I'm David Spears, wishing you the very best for the festive season.
That's nice. I like the laugh. It's good. Can we, well, just a little more laughter, maybe
More laughter.
at the end as well as at the beginning?
Okay, both ends.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm David Spears, wishing you the very best for the festive season.
That's good, that's good. Now, just sandwich a bit more levity in the middle.
Or laughing in the middle.
Yeah, a little bit laughing in the middle, and yeah, that'd be great. And a bigger smile.
Okay. Hi, I'm David Spears, wishing you the very best for the festive season.
No, that's not working, no.
No. Too much?
Yeah.
Up next, after Mad as Hell, I am a living human woman and have a right not to wear a mask under the Geneva Convention in Karens by Candlelight at 9:30.
But right now, with the second instalment of what is fast becoming our two-part year in review, here's Lydia Rollins.
Thanks, Shaun. Well, the year ended as it began, with December finishing up. But before then, there were several other months that it would ill behove me as a journalist to leave out. Gerard Henderson would be onto me like a shot, making catty comments in his media watchdog persona. Where's July, named after the greatest Roman emperor who ever lived? What happened to August, named after another one? Is this an attack on Western European history, etc., etc.? You know the way he goes on. If you, like hundreds of other people in this country, read The Australian instead of getting your news for free off 4chan, Reddit and Sam Newman's Twitter feed. Anyway,
July saw Melbourne's public housing towers go into full lockdown, with health authorities declaring
they are vertical cruise ships in a way.
In fact, they're almost exactly the same, apart from the restaurants, bars, shops, day spas, beauty salons, gymnasiums, casinos, swimming pools, water slides, jacuzzi, libraries, childcare centres and theatres. In August, Japan, long the apex environmental threat to life in the world's oceans, changed its ways and saved tens of thousands of barrels of oil from polluting the atmosphere by spilling them into the ocean near Mauritius. Russia approved a vaccine for COVID-19 just a week before trialling a treatment for opposition leaders. Speaking of which,
This is a government that pass the buck at every opportunity.
and apparently they'd passed 30 million of them to the Leppington Pastoral Company for a $3 million parcel of land to be used in 30 years' time. Additionally, with an eye to the future, the government announced the NBN would be upgraded to a never-before-dreamed-of fibre network. And as they attempted to revive the economy with irresponsible lending, there was also the matter of irresponsible spending. $20,000 worth of Cartier watches for Aussie Post staff. The objection being that Australia Post paid the current market price for the watches, rather than adopting the government practice of paying what they'll be worth in 30 years' time, the passage of which can conveniently be tracked on the very timepieces that caused the controversy. Questions too over Vatican finances, and if it's true that the Vatican has been funneling millions of dollars to opponents of Cardinal Pell, could this be a source of funding for the ABC? By the end of September, some good news in what had been a horror year when it was learned the government's COVID app had traced someone. Finally, I got nothing for the last 2 months because we shot this back in October. Shaun?
Thank you, Lydia. Well, when you strip away the commercialism, the tradition, the myth and the cultural non-inclusiveness of Christmas and put them in the recycling bin, what are we left with? In her last report for the ABC before she goes to Washington, Walkley-winning journalist Sarah Ferguson went in search of the answer.
As we know, human beings are simply biochemical machines, evolved over hundreds of millions of years. No different to this tree, this apple that grows on it, or the many birds that nest up in its branches. The manifest world and the sense that we have a consciousness are user illusions, a way of seeing the world so it makes sense to us. Good is as much a confected virtue as justice, equality, fairness and love. Culturally evolved to sustain social cohesion, and it only exists because we choose to believe in it. But deluding ourselves 365 days a year that goodness is real is impossible. So we generally try to confine it to one day, Christmas. But where do we find the true meaning of Christmas? Well, it's behind this tree. It's that we choose to become for each other for that one day the best possible version of ourselves. Kinder, more considerate, and willing to accept everything the world has to offer. Merry Christmas, Sarah. No, I'm good. Sarah Ferguson for Mad as Hell.
Of course, the best Christmas present of all this year would be a vaccine for COVID-19, which might well come about through challenge trials in which healthy volunteers are intentionally infected with the virus in the hope that it will hasten the development of the vaccine. Later on in the show, I speak to an Australian volunteer, Sammy Twerb, about her experience. Sammy, what can we expect during the interview?
Shaun, I shall be talking to you about the concerns I had going in, but I shall also remind your audience that Australians stood up and volunteered during the First and Second World Wars, so why not now, I say?
Well, of course, Sammy, you are being paid in the region of $7,000, so you're not really a volunteer like our Anzacs, are you? You're more a paid mercenary.
On the contrary, Shaun, I am a volunteer in that I am a willing participant, as opposed to many soldiers in the Second World War who were conscripted.
Anyway, that interview coming up later. And a question from the audience now. Anyone? Yes, you, sir, in the middle.
Yes, Shaun, why aren't I on the show this week?
It's a good question, and if you think you know the answer, send it to the Christmas Kraken competition care of your capital city, and you could be in the running to win a Geraldine Dougal. Comfort your baby boomer with this dual reference to the Magic Roundabout and Radio National's favourite Saturday Extra host. That's incredible. Now, I don't want to blow my own horn tonight, folks. That would be unseemly, and really it's for others to do. But I will say that this year we've been selflessly and unstintingly donating portions of the show for free to members of our arts sector who, because of COVID-19, are unable to do what they do, punce around on stage drawing attention to themselves. Tonight, principal dancer at the Australian Ballet, Stephen Hall, joins prima ballerinas Wilma Spade Callender and Frisbee Loon in the enchanting pas de trois from the traditional Christmas ballet, the Nutcracker Suite.
Shaun?
Yeah?
I've decided to do something else.
Oh, well, does it have a Christmas theme?
Oh, yeah. It's based on when Scott Morrison went to Hawaii for his Christmas holidays that time.
All right, then. Our commentators, as usual, are Maggie Bathysphere and Big Bad Bastard Brian Plate.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun. Well, Stephen's wasting no time conveying the fleet-footed prime ministerial escape to the more temperate climes of Hawaii during Australia's hour of need last December.
The PMO fielding questions from the press as to his whereabouts with misdirection, obfuscation and flat-out lying, lest everyone start panicking because they realise Michael McCormack is in charge.
Only a week in and there's trouble back home, and the PM finds himself torn between getting straight back home to deal with a crisis or ignoring it and continuing with his holiday as planned.
It's a terrible dilemma for the leader of any country, Mags.
After a week of consideration, ScoMo arrives back in Oz to face the press, blame the states and reassure everyone that he doesn't hold a hose.
An inquiry is mounted to blame excessive fuel loads and arson, and millions of dollars is pledged to make sure that when it happens again, it looks as though they did something about the completely expected consequences.
The new normal, as old as time itself, Brian. Back to you, Shaun.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Maggie Bathysphere there with Big Bad Bastard, Brian Plate. And so, to summarise, Christmas is a chance for us to be our true, better selves, to transcend our primitive need to compete by embracing societal cooperation. And though we are just biochemical machines and consciousness is an illusion, we temper our base instincts with logic and reason and choose to believe in, if not our perfectibility, then our betterment, if only for a day. And that though we live on one of the hottest and driest continents on Earth, we can suspend our disbelief and see that if we all look out the same window together, that there is out there a winter wonderland. And as one, we can sing. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
You lip syncing?
Man, it doesn't show signs of stopping. And I've got me some corn for popping. The lights turn way down low. Let it snow, let it snow.
He is lip syncing.
When we finally kiss goodnight.
Inappropriate.
How I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, All the way home I'll be warm.
I'm reporting it out,
And the fire is slowly dying. And my dear, we're still goodbying.
I think they auto-tuned
As long
it.
as you love me so.
Cut the music.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Auto-tuned.
This is for you, Christy. Merry Christmas.
Thank
for
you.
Francis.
Thank you.
And of course, lovely presents here for you, Tosh, and also Emily, and of course, my favourite, Stephen.
Thank you very much, Shaun.
When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm.
I've already got this.
But if you really grab me tight, all the way home I'll be warm.
Have you still got the receipt?
But the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, I'm still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow.
Shaun,
let
this
it
is
snow.
my book.
Yes, for you, for Christmas. And I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Giant baby.
Who watches those things?
It's illegal.